Today, let's look at a new old stock pencil from Berol. Hello everyone. Today, a slight departure perhaps from my normal pencil fare on this channel. I tend to mainly collect and demonstrate on this channel wood case pencils because that's what happens to be predominantly found in my collection, but I do have a subset of my collection for mechanical pencils, new and vintage, and here we have some new old stock, I guess. This pencil found at my local thrift for 50 cents some time back, and we're going to take a look at this today, and I'm going to violate some taboos by cracking this open and trying it before the end of this video. Berol Eagle. So the Eagle Pencil Company, one of the big four in 20th century pencil making. Eagle pencils, a favorite of Thomas Edison, if I recall correctly. He had his own favored length and diameter and darkness of pencil made by Eagle to his specifications. But the Eagle Company, founded by a family whose name I believe was Berolsheimer, and they at some point late in their history shortened it to Berol for the purposes of naming the pencil company. But it was named Eagle for much of the 20th century. In the mid 80s, it was purchased. Eagle Pencil Company was purchased by Empire, and I've reviewed quite a few Empire pencils on this channel. So Empire out of Tennessee acquiring one of the big names in pencil making. But Empire only owned it for a short time before it was purchased by Newell Brands. I think Newell owns it now, and produces pencils, if they're still being produced at all, under the Berol name. That was a long bit of history that was probably unnecessary to most of you. So what we have here is a kind of a mustard yellow, stadium mustard yellow mechanical pencil. And what interests me about this, one of the things that interests me, 0.9 millimeters automatic thin lead pencil. So 0.9 millimeters thin lead. We have lots of information here on the back. Ultra fine leads are always sharp. So thin leads, ultra fine. It says it's a push button pencil, how to retract, how to refill, and how to clean and maintain your pencil. There's a guarantee from Berol. Not much use now. It shows an address in Danbury, Connecticut for Berol. 0.9 millimeter thin lead. So today we think of thin lead. When we think of thin lead, we don't think of 0.9 millimeters. We think of maybe 0.5 or even 0.3 millimeters as thin lead. But this dates this pencil to a certain extent. Let's look at, by way of comparison, a pencil from the Scripto Company. This is a U.S. government pencil, not stolen by me, purchased by me at a flea market or some such. But the Scriptos of this vintage were all 1.1 millimeters. Scripto made pencils that took a smaller lead, but for the 1.1 millimeter leads, or as they say here, 0.046 inch leads, they called those their long leads. And for their thin leads, which would be a 0.9 thin lead, or 0.036 inch diameter, those were thin. Long was 1.1, thin was 0.9. So the definition of thin has definitely changed over the years in mechanical pencil history. Let's get right to opening this Berol. Is it freaking any of you out, you purists that want me to keep this intact in its packaging? Gosh, I hope not. I don't want to freak anyone out on my channel. It's the last thing I want. Okay, so we have Berol Eagle. It's like 1C9, 0.9 millimeter, Japan, made in Japan. When I saw this, I thought immediately that it looked like they were copying kind of the style of this Pentel. In this case, a P205, but they also made this in a 0.9 millimeter size, but a similar design for these pencils, and probably for a similar purpose. Probably they were meant for technical drawing, drafting, things of that character. Pentel's still making pencils and making very, very nice pencils. This one's in rough condition. Also made in Japan, you can probably see on the barrel there. So I don't know if there was a partnership at some point, or if the people making this Berol pencil at this time were just copying from fine Japanese mechanical pencils. Who could blame them, because the Pentel makes a very nice mechanical pencil. I like the color of this. It's kind of related to the standard yellow school and office pencil. If I had one of those nearby, oh, this is close. So let's try it out. I think the instruction said you can put up to 10 extra leads inside the barrel here. Look at that tiny eraser. I assume that pulls out, and that's where you would... There's the cleaner to clean out the tip if you get a jam in there, and there's a few extra leads that you can see. It's a long eraser, you can extend out if needed. Okay, see if I can put this together while looking in the camera. Extends fine and retracts fine. I expected that. We have the clip with the Berol name on it in chrome. We have a chrome push button, silver foil. Do you use foil on a plastic? I don't really know. Silver chromed cone tip. The tip doesn't retract, but the seems sturdy enough. It's not going to snap off or anything. All right, let's give it a try here. Some paper. And since it is a 0.9, it would be easy to find refills even today for this. That's one problem you have with vintage pencils. Sometimes if they're a bigger size or an unusual size, it can be difficult to find a replacement. 1.1 millimeter lead is no longer easy to find for scriptos. Made in Japan. One thing that I find interesting, and probably also kind of dates this unlock this. Dates this pencil a little bit. I don't see anywhere on the packaging. Maybe it's under the sticker, but I don't see where it says made in Japan on the packaging, just on the pencil, and not easy to find. Just formed into the plastic mold here. If I can find it again. There. Maybe from the days before made in Japan was a strong selling point, because now purchasing a mechanical pencil or anything that requires precise engineering, if you find made in Japan, well, that's something to crow about. If you're trying to sell it, nothing particularly outstanding about the graphite they've included. Feels kind of like a standard number 2. I don't know what's in this 0.5 Pentel. Whoop, didn't lock my exposure. Sorry, everybody. It feels different because the diameter is different. It's almost half the diameter. Let's get something a little more vintage here. Duralite, Keen Point. These use I believe a 1.1. And these have mark sensing LEDs installed, which would be a darker, you would expect a darker graphite mark sense there. I've done a video review of these Duralite Keen Points, and you can notice a difference in the darkness for sure. Different purpose for which they were designed. Mark sense would have been designed for computer scanners, while this was almost certainly marketed for people doing more technical drawing, would be my guess. It's a neat pencil. This might go into my regular rotation. I just like the feel of it. Made in Japan. I wonder if it was a copy of a Pentel or some other Japanese writer. I've not seen one exactly like this, but maybe you who are more familiar with mechanicals could advise if they were just rebranding some other Japanese product under the Berol name at some point in their history. Either way, I like it. Thanks for sticking with this mechanical pencil review, and I hope to see you here again next time.